this right. Pull wheels. PSI used is a little higher than norm compared to 70-80. I pull 100 because they're not OEM wheels. Pull lock nuts, remove glide bolts. There's a couple of nuts that hold the glide bolts or the caliper in place, and the glide bolts just kind of slide. They don't thread in. Makes any sense? Hopefully that shows in the video. The old shims are said to be used because they fit properly. They've been there a long time, and the new ones, I guess, just don't have the right bends. I was seeing that, and that's what worked for me. You have to grease the shims. You want to install the brake pads. You want to remove any dust that's on the caliper at all, or anywhere that you can find any rust, brake rust. Okay, that helps. From what I understand, most mechanics say that brake dust is actually what causes the noise. For my situation, it seems mine will wear down. I have a metal indicator on the inner brake shoe. It will hit the rotor and it will start to screech like mad. Mine didn't go there. I was like 2+ millimeters away, maybe 2.5 millimeters away. I was close. Things worked out. Install the brake pads. The glide bolts have to be greased. The upper one has a seal, so you might not have a lot of problems with that one. Greasing it, pulling in and out. Hope you see that in the video. The bottom one doesn't have a seal. It could be for a reason. It has more tension, and that's the way it's built. Excuse me. So I hope I pointed that out and show you in the installation. The brake pedal, when I pressed it after I installed the pads, the rear and the passenger side and then the driver's side went down a lot in one motion. But after that, I didn't have to pump it. That was odd to me because I remember in the old days we always had to pump brakes to get bled. So that somebody can instruct me on that, on why that is. Okay, noise at time. I was getting noise on the right side. Backing up, going forward, not necessarily making turns. I wasn't sure what it was. And I heard it mostly for the passenger side, so I started that first. Then I still heard it after the passenger side. Well, let me go to the driver's side. Did that? No noise. Yeah. I mean, I could have paid the mechanic a good deal. $350 plus just to do pads. I did it myself. I paid for the pads. They were either rather expensive, inexpensive, Took my test drive, been driving around for a week. No noise. See you guys in the next one. Bye. Okay, you guys, I'm going to do piecemeal here. I'm not going to bore you guys to death with an extra long video. 14mm is what I need for the bolts to get out, so I can use the glide bolts, pull out the caliper, and go from there. You'll see yellow tape here on that 19mm, which is the key for the lug nuts, right dead center. My little chair, knee pad, comes in handy.
500-degree grease. And most any grease will work in this situation that I know about. You guys tell me otherwise. You guys can see my pads. I did the driver's side already. It took me an hour and a half. Like, again, I'm not going to bore you guys to death. Haven't done this in a very, very long time. Maybe 3 decades. So, here we go. We're going on the front wheel. It's a 2014 Kia Soul. Paid off already. Gonna keep it. It's not even got 45,000 miles on it. Maybe 46, I forget. Definitely under 50. Jack and stand. Should have a stand. Don't rely on the jack. Very important. It's about 60 to 70 pounds. 59, 72 pounds online. She feels a lot lighter. Either stretched or it just doesn't feel like 50 pounds. You got these 2 bolts that come out. Caliper's still a little bit warm. Brake pads look kind of done. Okay, I didn't push the piston in, so gonna use this to push the piston in. Don't want to bore you guys with too much. We'll hang it up, pull these guide rods out. One on top, one on the bottom. Get the new brake pads in. We don't have to remove this piece, which is thank God. So that makes life easier for us. I will be using a hanger or a zip tie, even though I'm going to put this up here. Because it did fall down on me. But the last one, this one barely reaches. So there's one of the guide pins. It still has grease on it. That's a good sign. But that one has a seal. The one on the bottom does not have a seal. If I remember correctly, this one is bigger than normal. Pause the video, keep going, alright? Okay, this is the bottom one. Definitely rust in there. I'm gonna sand it down a bit. I have a new one at home. Don't need it. If I use this on the wire wheel on my grinder, I should be fine. Okay, I had to wiggle it back and forth with this, get it out, and now I can take the brake pads out. The gentleman's video who I saw on YouTube was a lot more intense than per se this one. He basically described keeping these glides here, not to use the new ones, because if you can, they can be a pain in the butt. New ones to try to get to work properly. Alright, so I'll have to push the piston in with this. If I had a C-clamp, it would be better. Don't want to hammer down nothing like that. Just push it. Haven't had any issues with the brake fluid. I'm gonna have to check that, make sure I don't overflow while I'm pushing this piston in. Alright? Calipers or brake shoes, excuse me, came right out. There's an indicator here, indicates how close I am, where it's going to start making noise on the rotor, gouge into the rotor, and that'll tell me you have to change the brake pads. I am pretty close, millimeters away, maybe 2.5. Okay, got the brake pads in. Cleaned up the bottom guide bolt on the wire wheel. Gonna grease it up. There's a lip there that catches the rubber bushing. Push that in place to get that correct. The other one does not need a lot of cleanup. It had a lot of grease on it, and it had a bushing on there, so it kept pretty good. So the bottom one is the one that's going to give you the most trouble. If you got nothing else to do and you're going to clean the brake dust, and you can pull the bottom one out and grease and put it back in, you might get away for a spell. Okay. I don't know if you heard that snap in, the rubber bushing on the metal. Now I have to put the caliper back, but I haven't pushed the piston in, so we're going to pause the video. Okay, you can see I pushed the piston in. I didn't use brute force. I used the 300 PSI. Oh, what is the name of this thing? This is German, Bessie. And it can go to 300 PSI if need be. This is probably the hardest one I've found. If I had no other choice, I'd go buy a cheap C-clamp. I'll be good to go Harbor Freight. No issues, okay? But she's in. I'm going to put it back on. Okay, bolts are in. Top, bottom. Check the reservoir for the brake fluid, and she was pretty clean, almost immaculate, the reservoir. Solution looked like it's brand new. It's a good thing for me. Didn't fill up despite pushing in both pistons, because last week I did the passenger side. Today I'm doing the driver's side. And previously, last year when I got an inspection, the mechanic showed me my brake pads that were very bad, so he had to change them in the back. So I'm doing the front myself. All I got to do is put the front wheel back on and go for a test ride. See you on the next one. Bye. There's my reservoir. You can see the fluid is almost at the max. Pushing the pistons in and all that. Okay. Should be able to see that. She's just below the max. And like I said, she's really, really clear. So that's a great thing. We're doing fine today. Okay, I'm about to put the vehicle on the ground. Put the lugs in place. I'm going to torque them down to 100 PSI. Even though it says 70 to 80 on this vehicle, that's with the OEM wheels. These are not OEM wheels. So I don't take a chance. I've always torqued it down to 100. That little bit of safety gave me a mental, I don't know how you say, capacity to believe that I did the best I could so they don't fly off. And I do double, triple check them when I'm driving, especially at first. So I'll keep that wrench in my car with that key for this front wheel, and I'll check all four of them. But so far so good. No major issues. Next thing, I guess, the lenses. We'll go from there. Haven't done no real work on this vehicle in ages. She needs some TLC.